When most people think about eternity, they imagine clouds, endless stillness, or something difficult to fully picture. But the Bible paints a far more beautiful and breathtaking image of what eternity will actually be like. Scripture reveals that God's final plan is not just heaven as we often imagine it. It is a new heaven and a new earth, a restored creation, a perfect world, a place where everything broken is finally made new. Revelation 21 begins with one of the most powerful visions in the Bible. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. This is the final chapter of God's plan. Not destruction without hope, but restoration beyond imagination. The world we know now is temporary. Sin has affected everything: humanity, relationships, creation itself. Pain exists, death exists, suffering exists, but eternity will be different. The first thing we learn about the new heaven and new earth is this: God himself will dwell with his people. Revelation says God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. Think about that. No distance, no separation, no barriers between God and his people. The greatest joy of eternity will not simply be the beauty of heaven, it will be the presence of God. The second thing we learn is that everything broken will be removed. Revelation 21:4 says he will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain. No more funerals, no more fear, no more sickness, no more grief. Everything that sin brought into the world will finally be gone. That means eternity is not just endless existence, it is complete healing and restoration. The third thing we learn is that the new earth is real and physical. The Bible describes cities, rivers, trees, nations, and life. This is important because eternity is not an abstract spiritual fog, it is a restored creation. God is not abandoning creation, he is renewing it. The new earth will be everything this world was meant to be before sin entered it. Beauty without corruption, life without death, joy without fear. The fourth thing we learn is that believers will still have purpose. Revelation says God's servants will serve him and reign forever. That means eternity is not passive. There will be worship, creativity, relationships, exploration, and meaningful activity. Heaven is not boring, it is life as God intended it to be. Another incredible truth is that the new heaven and new earth will be filled with perfect peace and joy. Imagine relationships without conflict, work without frustration, life without anxiety. Imagine never again experiencing loneliness, guilt, shame, or fear. That's what eternity with God will be like. The fifth thing we learn is that the new heaven and earth are centered around Jesus Christ. Everything in eternity points back to him. The cross made this future possible. Because of Jesus' death is defeated. Because of Jesus, sin is removed. Because of Jesus, eternity becomes hope instead of fear. And perhaps the most amazing truth of all is this: this future is promised to those who belong to Christ. Revelation says those whose names are written in the book of life will enter this eternal kingdom. This is not fantasy. This is not wishful thinking. It is the promise of God. And because God keeps his promises, believers can live with confidence and hope. The new heaven and new earth remind us that this world is not the end of the story. Pain is not permanent. Brokenness is not final. Evil does not win. God's plan ends with restoration. One day faith will become sight. One day every wrong will be made right. One day believers will stand in a world where everything is finally whole. And in that place, we will live forever in the presence of God. That is what eternity will really be like.